Welcome to Unbiased and On the Fence. How's everyone doing today? It is Tuesday, and I am so excited to be here, spreading the love and, sharing the love, spreading the light in what we call the illusion of real time, right? And we have Michelle Wolfe with us today. How are you doing today, Michelle?
Is my mic on?
Oh my gosh, it's so funny you said that because
testing 1, 2, 3.
because I turned it on just as you said, "Is my mic on?"
No, see,
I couldn't
know.
get to the button quick enough. I'm telling you, it's like I don't know. I need a hotkey or something for it. But yeah,
that's okay. I'm with you. I'm on it. I know what's going on.
The mic is hot.
The mic is hot. We're live. Hello, everybody.
Yeah.
How's everybody feeling?
Oh my gosh, I hear ringing coming from you a little bit. Do you have something ringing in the background, or is it? Well, it could be my ears.
It might be the. Let's try that. In case it's the fan.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
Yes, ask away.
The energies, what the heck's going on? Because I find myself being up all night, sleeping all day, really feeling, what, I was taking a shower, and I was in the shower, curtains closed or whatever, and I had these moments of not knowing what was beyond the shower, like what house I was in, at what period of my life.
It's just an open possibility. It's a feeling of complete open possibility. I know exactly what you're saying.
Oh, you do? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because, I've been that way, like, after being sleep deprived or other...
This thought has been playing a lot. Though yesterday, this was playing a lot in my mind yesterday. I mean, it has been the last few days, but you bringing this up specifically, I was absolutely thinking about that last night. And how, I remember I was even lying in my bed and how... Oh, it's getting really strange. It almost seems like start to warble, like it could just shift and be anywhere.
Yeah, it's totally, because I even was like, okay, I know where I'm at. And then like a moment later, I'm like clearing the soap out of my face, and I'm looking in, and I'm like, I don't know where I am again.
Yeah.
It's like
and for
over
me,
and over.
For me, I'm getting that because the dream state with me too, like that's so immersive now. And so the waking and the dreaming state as well, it's not just the nostalgia of like my own life or where I could be within my own life. It's that, but it's also the dream state as well. And the different places in my dream state that I've been and experienced. That is coming up a lot. I'm out walking the dogs and I'll see, something visually hits me in a way that brings back, even these being in these dreams. I'm really wondering how much is coming into focus around me from the dreams I've had previously. Is it just this feeling, just like this nostalgia, like we could be anywhere, either, in the dream state or out of the dream state, or am I actually still really recalling all these different scenarios for like years ago, which I think is possible too.
Anything's possible at this point, it seems like to me.
That's what it seems like.
Yeah, because it's so strange because it's like, I don't know, it's like the veil is tearing down of, time and space. And because, I was considering being in a shower of a place that I haven't lived in years. Why would my brain go through this? Wait, which bathroom am I in right now? And I'm like going through this place I haven't even been in like over 15 years or something. And I was like, wait, it's not that bathroom. Which bathroom am I in? So, and then even being outside, you're like thinking, because I have these meditative moments where I'm not really meditating, but I'm just out enjoying nature or whatever. And just being able to bring myself into the moment and see it as really being real. It's been really difficult because it seems so fuzzy and unreal to me, surreal, if you will.
Definitely, since we talked last Tuesday, especially immediately after, it seems to have lightened up a little bit. It's more pink now. But when we were talking about the whiteness, and Aluna was talking about that whiteness and the thickness in the air, I definitely experienced that accelerated even over like a few days after we spoke last week, where it really did seem really fuzzy and a thickness. And then it became more pink as the week progressed, and the air and the sky and everything just seemed a lot pinker. But yeah, I've been feeling that and feeling like I don't.
Oh, your mom says hi.
Oh, hi, Mom. Oh, here's a
Hi,
good
Mom.
topic too. Hi, Mom. The dream thing. I think that a lot of people are getting the experiences in the dream now of the wave energy. I think how much we receive these energy waves in dreams. I'm starting to think that a lot of these event dreams that people have, they're not just foretelling the event. I'm thinking that that is actually the way they're experiencing that energy, that event. Like they're actually receiving that energy through that dream, that event dream. It's not just a precognitive situation. I think at this point, we might not see that actual physical representation, but we are experiencing it. We are experiencing at that level. My mom said she woke up like laughing, and she never remembers waking up like just laughing like that. And I know, and she even said she went back to sleep and then still woke up laughing again. That's that energy, and that's been going on, within the last week. Jess as well had her first experience where she was, it was an event dream, and she experienced that overwhelming love, joy, and bliss for the first time. I was so excited. But I really think that we are experiencing it in our dream states. So I think sometimes how we see these things coming in, maybe in the hypnosis sessions, and in our dreams, maybe we're kind of really experiencing it in those ways. It's not always going to, it doesn't maybe even need to manifest fully into this reality for us to experiencing it. So I'm really thinking about that, because every time I've taken in this energy, it's always been in my sleep. But I know that there are some that have taken in while they've been conscious. But I'm thinking predominantly most of us actually do it in our sleep, and that's when we get these dreams and we're experiencing these event dreams. That is our experience with that energy, and we are getting attuned and adjusted and activated at that time when we get those dreams.
Yeah, something I wanted to go into, because undoubtedly I always get comments that's like, when's the event gonna happen? Why do you guys keep talking about it? And it's like, dude, it's already happening.
It's happening.
It's so subtle that you can look around and just look like you normally look with your same old eyes, or you can look with fresh eyes and see that things are so much different than they were. If you put a decade on it, oh my God, things are so much different than a decade ago. It's kind of like if you're always around your kid, you don't see that they've grown at all. But if they go to grandma's for a couple of weeks and they come back, you're like, oh my God, you're taller.
Exactly.
What the heck? It's that
and
same
I think
thing.
Even for us, yeah, because we, it's been increments that these sensations and these changes happen. But I'm thinking too, like how deep I can go now and physically feel activations is extraordinary. And, it's like this waiting for that visual manifestation,
yeah.
But we're not realizing all the increments that we're doing within here. That groundwork, that foundation, it literally is within.
Totally,
and
a lot of it's happening within us.
And then I think we feel that we're feeling that open possibility now, because it's within us.
Yeah.
Not outside of us. And we're starting to experience that open possibility because I think we are the portals within us.
Yeah, I totally agree. And if we don't
pay attention,
in and
out is all in here.
Yeah, and if we don't pay attention and we don't change our own perspective, it can pass us right by completely, and we can be completely unaware of what's happening. And I think one of the things that we were talking about just before we went on the air, because I talk to people often. I know artists, there's many artists in our group here that will know this, but I know in Metal Rabbit, I don't know if she's in the chat, but she sent me these pictures from this morning where there's like, this sort of this rainbow halo around the sun and this sort of purpley, it's strange because it's like right where a lens flare would be, but it's not in all the pictures, so it looks weird to me. It's very magenta looking, and it's strange. But we were talking about how, you know, it used to be when the sun's about to go down, you could look opposite side in the sky of the sun, and it would be like a dark blue, and it would slowly go to like a purpley color, a pink color, and then into the orange and yellow where the sun is. But now when you look around at sundown, it's pink on the horizon completely.
All the way across.
Yeah, 360 degrees. It's pink on the horizon. That was not like that. Now, I know many artists will know this because you've studied the colors, and it's really hard to mimic that when you're trying to do a painting and get the sky colors right.
Twilight.
Yeah, and it's hard to get that. And, you know, there was never pink on the opposite side of where the sun is.
How would you show twilight?
Right.
How would you show twilight if the whole sky? Yeah, you know, even I almost think of like a children's, I don't know, I was seeing like this children's picture of like a dial when the sun goes down and the moon comes out.
Yes.
And how the dial turns and so you know the sky would be going like, you know, dark like this. But
yeah, but there's
now we've got the moon like the moon's like this and the whole sky's pink.
Exactly. Yeah. How do you show that there's pink all the way around on the horizon? That's just strange to me. And you know, I was pointing out to my wife, but she's not like an artist. So she hasn't played with the colors and struggled with trying to make it look right, mixing colors and doing all that, because it's really tough to get that gradient to look right when you're doing artwork and you're trying to get that, you know, to accurately depict the way the sun transitions from the dark side, you know, from the east, if it's sundown, and
but that was one of my favorite colors in a sense, though, like that twilight velvet.
Yeah.
Over the overlay, the transition. You know, there was a velvetyness to it because it was still had some illumination, but it had the deep, either indigo or you know, purpley sort of light play you could do with it. Yeah, and
now it's almost not. Yeah. You don't even have that dark blue. You don't, or the darker night color coming in.
Yeah, like
it's
indigo.
Like, yeah, it's almost like that sky blue everywhere, pink on the horizon, and then it sort of just washes out.
And it just shuts off.
Yeah, it's like you miss all of the, like, when do we ever see the whole sky pink anymore? It's just the horizon now, and it's just really weird the way the colors are just so much different. But I think because we moved into it in a slow, incremental way, we don't notice it. You know?
I know, but it surprises me. Like, I think every one of us now could go take a picture at sunset or some point in the day and come up with something really weird. And, you know, that just is crazy. So I was telling you, I just took a bunch of footage from a couple nights ago, and it was great. Jess was out on a hike up north and ended up taking pictures and at the exact same time. And so she got really great horizon shots of the sundog and everything that was going on. So I'm putting all those together because it's just bizarre. But I'm still seeing, even after the sun goes down, I'm seeing if there is clouds above, there's, you know, somewhat illuminated, and I can still see that purpley, pinky tone even to the sky at night, if the clouds are there, you know, so it doesn't even go away completely.
Let me pull up some sundog images just for those who might not be aware of exactly what this is, because this is something else that we just didn't have when I was.
When did we start seeing sundogs?
I don't. Like, it's just within the last few years for me. This is like
I don't remember
them. Totally new for me. These are, and this is what I think, whenever you get clouds that are covering the sun, but not the sundog, you get these images that appear to be like 2 or 3 suns in the sky, and people have reported seeing multiple suns. In fact, I probably would have too if I hadn't actually been recording a time-lapse photography where you see it happen and like sped up over time, and you'll see it appear and you'll see it go away. But I can see coming out of a store, and you look over and you say, oh my gosh, there's 2 or 3 suns in the sky. But you know, not that I mean, I don't think it's 2 suns. I really feel like it's the one sun, and it's reacting in a way we've never seen before. So it's something new.
I think it's just the lensing system that is hiding things that are
right.
I think there is a lot more up there.
Yeah, and sometimes it's faint and it just looks like a rainbow. It'll just be like a rainbow where the second 2.
Well, what I love is the double rainbows and stuff. I'm like, isn't that 2 light sources? It's just, you know, how do you all of a sudden have 2 light sources like that? I never saw a double rainbow when I was a kid.
Yeah. That's all new to me too. I think
yeah,
about
there's
3 or 4 years ago I caught my first one.
But I'm wondering too if even, you know, everything that we do see, that it's not even all clouds necessarily.
Right.
I don't know if it's debris coming in.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the chemtrails or if it's, you know, the energy we're seeing, or
and that's what we were discussing. Yeah, it could be. Is it whatever they're injecting into the stratosphere from these planes? Is it the new energies coming in just from space and they're hitting our atmosphere? Is it a combination of those two mixing together? I mean,
yeah.
I mean, if we're really honest, we don't know what it is, but we just know that it's new. That's really all I can say without a shadow of a doubt. It's new to me.
Yeah.
It's not
well,
normal.
That pinky color, I do remember back in the spring when we were really, you know, at one of the times when the waves was coming in. So I think it is really showing. I think it is a sign of the wave energy per se, because I do remember back then I was back in the spring and I was looking at the ISS. It was purple and pink up there. The same thing's going on again. And the colors are just off. Like, what could be causing that color? Right. Satellites are getting knocked out. I got that on film too. So, which is weird. I don't know. It's a lot of, you know, discussion about the internet could go down for 48 hours. What's that about? Who knows?
Yeah, I think we've passed that 48 hours, though. So
yeah, I think so.
And I kind of felt like that was BS from the moment I heard about it. I'm like, the internet's not going out.
I'm starting to see, I think, when trying to sort of create this frenzy. And I'm thinking more and more, you know, this whole Project Bluebeam idea is a distraction. I kind of see just from what I've been told and how things are connecting, I think it's might be a distraction so that people would think that what they're seeing isn't real.
You can see there's some pretty extraordinary images of this lensing that we're talking about, and I'm showing one now that's got several different sundog. I don't know where the name sundog came from, by the way. It seems kind of a weird name. How would they come up with that? But
I don't know.
It is yeah, and this is sort of what you see sometimes if you don't see the super bright sundog. You'll just see like a rainbow in the middle. It'll be even with the sun, and if you see that, look on the same distance from the sun on the other side of the sun.
Other side,
and you usually see the same thing on the other side.
Yeah, yeah, and I found a lot of times, because I've been seeing that here specifically, for over a year now. Mm-hmm. You know, from where I am, the sun goes down. I've got a good shot of it, and I've been seeing that happen for over a year, and it's definitely because sometimes the exterior can be so much brighter than the interior, and you can really see the whole circle around it as well. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's been going on for a while, and it's constant now. Remember in the winter they were trying to say it was like ice crystals? Well, how is it ice crystals now in the summertime when it was doing it? Like, I felt like back in the winter that was their explanation for it. Oh, it's ice crystals.
And this is an example of what I was talking about the cloud can cover the sun itself, and then the sundog itself is brighter. I found an image of this. You'll have to watch it on replay. Michelle can't see this right now, but this would be brighter than the actual sun, which you can see through the clouds. And sometimes the clouds themselves will light up brighter than the sun. So it appears like the sun's here, but there's some, I think somebody put out a video recently where they were like, oh, it looks like a spacecraft. But it was really the sun. It was just not, it's like the clouds will block out the light of the sun if it's behind it, but will actually reflect it much brighter at the edge if it's not, you know, where it's sort of the edge of what's covering the sun. So a lot of strange phenomena that are new to me. I mean, just within the last few years.
And that's it. So some of those clouds too, when they're like really big and the sun is starting to go down, and we talk about, so if you think about what, you know, the 90-degree point, like sort of in the sky, or, you know, the 180, like, so you can have, if the sun's setting right on here, but you can have clouds like over here, this far away, that are so bright. If you take a picture of them, they're like, it's like they're on fire. from the inside.
Yeah.
And I've gotten several pictures of that happening, and know from like where, from what point it is, like in my yard, the sun's over there, and I'll literally have clouds at like 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock that are so bright.
Yep. I've had the same exact thing.
It's like they're on fire from the inside.
Yep, and it almost appears, you'll see this especially. I've noticed it with also with time lapse, where it appears that, let's see, it appears that the sun is actually going in front of some of the clouds.
Yes.
And that's why people, you know, they'll say, look, it's going in front of the clouds. It's like, no, if you really watch it on time lapse, you can see that it didn't really go in front. But I can see why they think that. In the same way with the moon at night, you know, but when you watch it with time lapse, you can tell it's not. But I can see why they think that, because it totally looks like it's going in front of them and behind some of them. So it looks like it's going through the clouds. And it does look like it, but when you check it out on the telescope and amplify it, or in when I was saying time lapse, where you speed it up and you can see it go, you can tell it's not going through the clouds, it's going behind them. But it does have that effect, you know.
But you know what? I was even trying to take pictures of the moon, and it wasn't even like half. It was like a quarter moon, and it was so bright and so low in the sky, and I had a great shot. I tried to take so many pictures, but every picture I took, it's not showing the sliver. The whole thing is illuminated. I don't know if that's normal, but I mean, you know, it was so defined and clear in the sky. It was so bright, like, and I'm seeing the sliver, but I can see, because it is so bright, I can still see the whole circle of the moon. And I couldn't get a picture of it as a crescent. It would only take a picture as a full glowing circle.
Oh, right.
You know, I don't know if that's normal or not, but
I don't think any of it's, I mean, it's normal nowadays, but these are like, I didn't see halos surrounding. There's been nights when there's been a halo around the moon that was so big, I couldn't even like zoom out of my camera and capture the whole thing good enough. Like I couldn't fit it all in my screen, and I have a wide angle, you know, camera on my camera phone. So
I can tell you the first time I ever saw a sun halo, and I was in grade 8.
Oh, really?
Oh, I remember.
Was it white or was it rainbow?
No, it was that it had a circle.
Right.
It was just like a circle around it. I've never seen a circle around the sun.
But it wasn't a sundog, right?
No, it was
just the regular white halo around it.
Just a full halo around it. It was the first time. It was a big deal, and that, you know, they even talked about it. Oh, it's, you know, a halo. And that would have been early 80s.
I think it was mid 80s that I heard them on the news talk about the moon having it. But now you see it all the time.
All the time.
Why is it all the time now? You know what I mean? It's like, what the heck?
Yeah, you know what? I'm almost done my video putting it together too, with the whole JFK saying, you know, the sky is falling. And I really feel like it's an attempt. Everybody's like, look up, look up, look up. Everybody's talking about looking up. You know, everything's about the sky right now. And more people are noticing. I think so many revelations, not just one, but so many different revelations are going to be coming out soon. And that's why it's all about looking up. I think there's many things to be discovered and seen as far as the truth goes in looking up the sky. It's not just one answer and one thing going on. There's a multitude of things going on different levels.
Yeah, so, speaking of which, we've got, as far as Q drops are concerned, have they been quiet for a few days now? Because
last I saw was, it seemed to be, I didn't check. Did I check yesterday? But it seemed quiet the day before that. One of the last really good posts was really saying, you know, we understand your impatience, but you have to think about, you know, all that needed to be done as far as cleaning out the DOJ and the FBI and the court system and everything. But those things are falling into place. I think your big thing now is that midterm elections getting finished, and then it's gonna, wow, fur's gonna fly. Fur's gonna fly.
So we're still expecting something. That's funny. We've been getting lots of 10-10 and 11-11 and 12-12 synchronicities. It's been really strange how many. It's weird how synchronicities seem to go in waves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like we got the 10-10 last night, the 10-10 this morning, and it's like, Why the
It's been the
10-10? You know?
33 lately for me.
Oh, you got
And
lots of
Just keeps
threes.
talking about, yeah, the threes. Just keeps talking about 33, 33, 33. That, so she's come into that understanding of the synchronicities and that too, like 33, 30. It's kind of, you know, isn't it great, guys? I think maybe more of us might be starting to experience the fact that finally other people are starting to not immediately argue with us, you know, when we point out these things, because it's like, come on now. More people are starting to see those synchronicities, and then as soon as you catch on, that's it. You're hooked, and it's just going to keep coming up. It's the awareness that brings it in. It's the waking up process.
Yeah,
so.
your mom's saying it's been, let's see, it was October 10th. 10/10 was the last Q drop. So, yeah, it'd be a week tomorrow since we've heard. Someone else is saying, let me scroll back up here. Indie Girl 42. This guy named Edward remote viewed Q. What he saw was astounding. It was about AI. And I think
AI.
That's what I heard, that it was like humans using AI, quantum computers.
Quantum computers. I think it will be our introduction.
Cool.
I think it will be our introduction to quantum computers, the quantum technology.
Yeah.
I think that's how it will come about.
It's pretty cool when you think about, like, you know, we went through the regular wars and then the Cold War, and now we've got this, you know, almost hidden war behind the scenes of these AI computers battling it out. It's, you know, I don't know. I mean, it's all I know. For me, it's just speculating. I don't want to tell anybody I know for sure, but it sure is exciting to imagine the possibilities of, you know, and you know, nobody really gets hurt. I mean, people are getting hurt, but not in the typical way that warfare plays out. It's not like that, where it's sort of like these dumb bombs that are just slaughtering tons of people. It's like it goes beyond a precision missile when you think about things being battled out with information or technology, because in a way, you know, they used to drop pamphlets and all sorts of, there used to be propaganda trucks that drove around with speakers, and things are so different. I mean, it's still information, but it's being waged in a much smarter way now with these, because in a way you can look at the whole Q phenomenon as a psyop being used in a positive way, because it's waking people up, but it's doing it in a way that they sort of have to get in there and do their own research and make the connections in their own mind. So it's not just trusting, it's not just laying it out there real easily for you. You can't just sort of hear what somebody presents with the Q stuff. You have to sort of dive into it a little bit otherwise it just seems ridiculous. It's like, oh, that's, you know, if you just sort of look at it in passing without looking at it a little closer. Now, I'm just an observer with it all, you know, I don't know, but it seems to be waking a ton of people up at this time. So I see it as a positive thing, even if it ends up being something that we don't think it is. It's still,
I think it's an amalgamation of things. I don't think that Q is an AI computer.
Right.
I think that is part of a process, and it is a group, and I don't think it's one person. But I do think that JFK Jr., one of his last interviews, and how he talked about his magazine, and how, you know, nuggets of information, and how his mind worked as far as getting people's attention is the same as Q. So that's a really amazing thing. That's another quick video I want to put together. So,
speaking of, because I saw your Kanye West video.
Did you?
And, yeah,
oh, good.
Very nice. And I was, you know, I saw the interview where he's like kind of pounding on the Oval Office desk and, you know, sharing his thoughts.
I loved it.
I loved it. I actually watched a lot of it twice because it was it was so mind blowing to see.
Because if you listen to what he says,
yeah,
everything he says is very intelligent.
Oh yeah, I was telling my wife about it. She goes, "Wait, are you talking about the same Kanye West?" And she like brought up some of the stuff he's done in the past. I'm like, yeah, it's the same guy.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like the same guy.
Yeah,
he seems like he just like really woke up. And if you watch his TMZ interview, he talks about how he was like jacked up on like pain meds or opiates or something, and he got off of them, and it sounds like he had this awakening experience. And then even one of the reporters asked him about his comment he made about Bush back with Katrina and all that, and he said he was coming from a place of victim mentality back then.
Yeah,
and it's like it's like he's seeing things a lot more clearly than he doesn't seem like the same person to me. It's like mind blowing to see someone so public. And I was telling my wife, it's like, he's the perfect person for this, because a lot of people could relate with what he said back when he said that with the Bush, and even with what was the other star up on, Taylor Swift, up on the stage or whatever. He sort of had this this victim mentality back then when he said these things, right, and seeing things as being unfair and things like that. And a lot of people could relate with that. But he's the type of individual that doesn't have that filter of, hey, don't say that out loud. You know, keep that in your head. So
he's
not
authentic.
having that, not having that filter there, we've been able to come along, and I'm sure there's going to be people he pulls along with him that were like, hey, I could relate with this guy before. What is he talking about now? And, you know, just because he's been so public with his thoughts and doesn't really have that filter of, you know, maybe I shouldn't say that out loud, like most people would, you know, a lot of the things he says, he, you know, even if we thought that, we wouldn't say it out loud, especially like on TV, live TV and stuff, you know.
But that's what he talks about, his Superman cape. Is that ability, like he talks about, I put on this hat and it makes me like Superman. What he's talking about is living authentically, like not, you know what, everybody's so afraid, they've been so trained, you know, by the liberal agenda to be afraid of somebody else's reactions and feelings and judgment, right? And his putting on the Superman cape, that is him being his authentic, sovereign, true self, speaking his truth, and not being afraid anymore of what other people think and what everybody's telling him around him. That's really what it is. And
he's got
and
guts
being himself.
really to, you know, think about where he's come from and what he's a part of. And, you know, that's one of the things people look at. They're like, you know, look who he's married to, look what he's been a part of, look at the signs, hand signs he's held up in the past and things. It's like people change, dude. And
but he did. He did, and he got away from it, and he started trying to tell people about it. He's been trying to tell people about, and that's the problem, is the media, what do? He's crazy. You know what? Then we're all bloody crazy. Right? You know, maybe crazy is the norm.
Right.
And they're trying to trick us that it's something else. But you know, that's what they did. Oh, he's crazy. He's talking nonsense. But if you go back and you listen to a lot of those things he's saying, well, isn't it funny? Q's telling you a lot of the same stuff too. I think he had an inside scoop. And I think, like he says, he chose love. He made his choice. Everybody in that industry and around us and on this earth today is being asked to make a choice. Are you going to choose love, or are you going to choose separation? This is the question of the day. This is the question of this year. And I think that really Kanye is stepping out and being his authentic self and saying what he truly believes, what he truly cares about, and having the ability to say, you know, when somebody says, I love you, Kanye, he goes, I love me too. He's not doing that out of, he is accepting his right to love himself and not feel bad for it. And not be told that it's wrong and you're prideful and you're, you know, just to be that superhero and feel great and do it. And that is what this year is all about.
Yes, Joel, about breaking the mind control. That's it.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I think, you know, people a lot of times they'll point back to people's past. You know, look what they've done in the past. Look at their bloodline.
Look at what I've done. Look at what you've done in the past. Look at what you have done. Never mind what somebody else has done. Look at what you have done. And yeah, like he says, don't focus on the past.
Yeah, we're talking about Kanye West because a lot of us, you know, saw him as, you know, just some of the things he said in the past was just, in a recent interview, he said he was coming from a victim mentality, and he just seems like a completely different person when you watch him now. It's really weird. And, you know, who was it? Jason Christopher brought it to my attention a while back. He's like, have you guys seen Kanye West tweets? And I read some of them, like, wow, this doesn't sound like the Kanye West I remember or whatever. But yeah, it's just weird to see some of these people in such a position make this transformation. And you know what? You never know. It's people change. And you know, even with you know, when people say Trump, you know, it's like, oh, he's deep state. He's tight with the people. Look at these pictures of him with Hillary and all of this stuff. And it's like, how do you know he wasn't approached and said, look, you can either be with us or against us. You can either help, you can either go down with them or you can help us. Things can happen. I'm not saying I know for sure he's of the light, but I'm saying that we don't know for sure that he hasn't changed or something, and to be more open-minded about the direction things can go. I don't know. I mean, it's not like I'm a big Trump supporter and I voted for him, because I didn't. But, you know, I'm just looking at it from an open-minded, unbiased point of view. And could he have changed? You know, does it matter his bloodline? Does it mean he didn't?
Yeah, what is your show even about when you started? Mandela effect.
Yeah.
That shows us that our realities change and shift all the time. And the people around us change and shift too. So what things were doesn't matter anymore. It's what things are right now. And that's what needs to be taken a look at. Because I don't know if the thinker can go, you know, from year to year. And
yeah. Amy B is saying she loves us, but she doesn't agree. And I would just like to say, I'm not saying I know he's changed and he's of the light.
Oh, yeah.
I'm saying that I remain open-minded to the possibility. I think we're moving into a time period where anything is possible. So I'm not shutting out any probable futures. I think that, you know, he could have changed.
Yeah.
I mean, if you disagree with that, then that's your point of view. And I don't mind. I mean, but I'm just saying.
His Jimmy Kimmel, his more recent Jimmy Kimmel interview too. Yeah. If you enjoyed his conversation with Trump, you might want to take a look at that. And he held his ground really, really good. So there's been a few, I have invested some time in researching this, because with what happened, I watched the full interview a couple times with Trump, and I really appreciated it. And I could feel the energy of it. I felt was really positive, and it made me feel good. And so it's made me want to look into a little bit more. And so I watched a few more interviews, and they are recent ones. And I thought, wow, you know, I really liked some other things that he said too. What he said before, what he's done or everything. You know what? I understand. I'm not talking about that at all, or making any judgments about any of that. I just look at the current situation and what is going on, and try to read, for me, the energy for that, and how it makes me think and feel. But we are all different, and that can make you think and feel completely different. And so I respect that. I'm not saying you know, my way of thinking is the only way of thinking. And those are just some things that I've looked at that I thought are interesting questions that I'm looking at bringing up into a video myself.
Thank you, Amy. We love you too. Yeah, I think that's the beauty, that, you know, you can come here and have any viewpoint, and nobody, you know, everybody respects whatever viewpoint you have. And some people hop in here and they don't. You just see it in the comments. They're like, you know, you think, I even had somebody point out the fact of the decisions he's making right now. They're like complete Zionist decisions that Trump's making. And I'm like, well, you got to understand that he still needs his base. And a lot of, when you think of, like, if you've got the Republican base is highly Christian, they're really looking to, you know, biblical prophecy to come about, and you really need to maintain those people. You're going to make choices that uphold that viewpoint, that solid Republican viewpoint, if he needs those voters for a second term. So I'm not even saying that, you know, I can see the choices he's making right now being really political in a sense, because he knows that he needs to be here for an additional 4 years maybe or something. So I'm just trying to think outside the box. Maybe those decisions were purely political when he moved, you know, the embassy and did things that looks like he's no different than anyone else. I don't know. I'm just saying that I can see it from a higher perspective, you know.
I think this comes back to the point, though, is that just to be able to say what you think and feel without apologies, and for people to be upset or triggered about what you believe, it's not their right. People seem to have this entitlement to indignity, or, you know, what somebody else thinks and feels, that's their right. We need to stop getting angry. It's not our right to be angry. It's our choice. That's a choice.
That's very true.
And this is about people speaking their authenticity without being attacked. Because you don't agree with what they're saying does not give you the right to violently disagree.
And you know what
does
the
not
thing
give you
is?
the right to, you know, lose civility. And we need to stop apologizing for how we feel and how we think. That's each our individual right, but not for us to sort of take out on somebody else and tell them they're wrong to the point that you're.
Well, the cool thing about it is, like, on one level, everyone really agrees. We want a better place to
Yeah.
live. We want a more loving environment. It's like we just disagree on, you know, this person says this person's lying and they're not really doing what they're saying they're going to do. And this person says, no, I think they're being truthful. And it's really the mechanism that's going to get us to that new place. So if we can sort of lay aside our opinions on how we get there and just decide to agree, well, we do agree we want a better place. We just disagree on how to go about doing that. So really, it's not on one level. It's not even like that we disagree. We just disagree on how it's going to come about. And I think that if we sort of are more open-minded with our expectations of how it might come about, and really just focus our intent on the goal, then we will see that we don't really need to argue and bicker over how it's going to get there. We can put our energy into the result because we all agree on that part of it. We just disagree on how it's going to come about. You know what I mean?
But this is the crux of the problem. So picture you're living in a house and you need to make agreements and decisions with the, you know, within each other, or compromises, or whatever it is. What do you do when you're in an environment where every time you voice an expression of what you want, desire, maybe think, feel, or believe, or want to share, when another person throws a temper tantrum, like an absolute temper tantrum, how can you have a conversation about what we can agree to disagree on, even if somebody's screaming and shouting, banging on doors, you know, and behaving in ways like a child having a temper tantrum? And that's what I'm seeing. What gets accomplished by that? What gets accomplished? And that's a terrible position to be in, to be constantly feeling like you're in a society where you can't express your opinions or your thoughts without somebody ranting and raving or yelling at you or telling you you're crazy or telling you have no right to think that way, or you're stupid, or you're an idiot, or where does that come from?
And that's
How is that part of it? That's not part of it.
That's when you're losing, because this whole thing is all about dividing, you know, through politics, through race, through culture, through every means possible to divide us. And if you can't rise above the politics of it all, and really focus on the result, like I was talking about, then you do fall into these traps that were purposely set up to divide us and to get us doing the things you're talking about, where we're calling each other's names and doing things that are not productive.
And yelling and screaming.
Yeah.
How can you have a conversation, a rational conversation to solve problems, when you have somebody who's standing up on a pedestal and won't stop shouting and getting angry, or stomps or storms out of the room? Listen, I've even been in those relationships. That sucks. Yeah. You know, it really does. That's kind of what it comes down to, I think, is it all sounds great, but we can't even accomplish anything if there's always a party that thinks that they have a right to throw a temper tantrum when somebody else shares their beliefs. You know, I come on here, I share a lot of different things. I do not expect everybody to like what I say or agree with what I say. I don't ask you to look for what you disagree with. I ask you to look at what you agree with, what you have been experienced. Find the commonalities, not the differences. Don't get angry over the differences. Let's love over the things that we have in common and look for that. So you're not going to like everything I say and everything I share and all the opinions that I have, everybody in that room. Some of you will and some of you won't. But I cannot be afraid to share those things in my authentic self. I would be doing a disservice to those who do find the things in common and the similarities, whether they agree or disagree with everything I say. I would be doing you all a disservice if I was not on here authentically being me and showing what that is. And not everybody's going to like it all the time. And that's okay.
Yeah. Well, Lori Lothian's bringing up a good point. What about Donald Trump himself? shouting and angry and mean and name calling and things like that. And I think, man, Magenta Pixie, I showed this video to you a while back where she showed how she was talking about if you can pull back from the politics of it and look at it from a higher perspective, you needed someone in there to play the game the way they play it. You know what I mean? And I think, you know, and someone that's sort of narcissistic to an extent of feeling like, you know, this is my America. I'm going to show them I can do, you know, what I said I'm going to do. And, you know, those, what we consider negative attributes like narcissism, if it's directed in a certain way, can actually, you know, play out in a positive way ultimately, even if it's sort of he's getting down in the dirt and playing the game. That's why it's important that we don't get sucked into the politics of it, and we sort of just observe and see the potential of how these seemingly negative things can play out in a positive way. And I think, you know, I don't know what you think about that.
I think we could play the what about game with every single person on this planet. I think you could come up with a what about list of every single person that you meet.
Yeah.
And yourself. We do it. I know. Look at her. We do. Yeah, we do. So, can you get down, please? This is just ridiculous. But that's it. I think we could all each individually come up with a whole list of what abouts this and that for everybody. I just, you know what? I look at what comes up in front of me, how I feel about it at that time, and that's what I do, and just try to be with that authentically and release judgment. It's a lot of judgment of people when you can't really know for sure. So I think this is where we go with our instincts. How does it make you feel? How do you feel? And we all feel differently. So we all have our own list of what abouts about everything.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's kind of mute to even talk about what about, because we could do what about like a tennis game all day long.
Yeah, and I think, you know, when I had Jim Self on and we were talking about, you know, if you sort of distinguish what is your sphere of influence, what do you have control over, and then what's out there, what's the theater out there, what's the chaos out there, and to keep that distinction between your sphere of influence and all the chaos going on out there with politics and all the other stuff going on there, and keep that, you know,
I got to be grounded in here, so I got to be authentic in here.
Right.
I got to be, you know, clear about that.
If it's separate, then you're just observing, and you're not. That all of that is just theater, and it doesn't control any part of what's going on in your internal sphere of influence. So I mean,
foundations, won't collapse.
You're not right. You're not destroyed if things don't work out the way you were hoping they would work out, and then you start to realize that, you know, I don't really know about that. I'm just speculating. I think it could go this way, but I really don't know. And I think a lot of the anger that people have come from they feel like they for sure know that Trump is good or Trump is bad, and they aren't leaving the option open that maybe they're wrong about it. You know what I mean? And it's like,
I think that's it, Shane. I don't want to
lie to ourselves. We lie to ourselves all the time.
Yeah.
We say, well, I know for a fact this is how things are going to get played out. And when people don't agree, because you think you know for sure, you get angry with that person. But as soon as you realize that, you know what, I don't know, I'm just speculating, I'm just hoping, whatever it is, but you're honest with yourself to the point of knowing that ultimately you don't know how it's going to play out. You don't know who the good guys and the bad guys are. You might have a gut feeling about it, but you can't bet your life on it, and it's just separate from you, and it doesn't really apply to you at the end of the day, to your sphere of influence. Then you begin to accept people for whatever their choices are, because we're seeing such a divide politically right now. People can't even say who they voted for because people will disown them. I've had people on Facebook say, you know, watch this video. If you don't agree with it, then you need to unfriend me. And so I'm like, what? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up, because I was thinking about doing a video on this, because what I remembered is watching a lot of documentaries on Scientology. And the belief system and what they actually did, like when, you know, families were in Scientology, and if somebody started to stray away from the belief systems, there was an out and right, that same philosophy of you're not required any longer to be civil. Any means necessary. harassment, is called for. And then I'm thinking, wow, that's really interesting, because a lot of the Scientology I know is in California with Hollywood, and in that thing too, where there's no apologies for no gloves and brass knuckles on what they do. And it's literally part of the manifesto that you are expected to cut off completely and even harass anybody that does not share the belief system of the Scientology. Like, it's anybody who goes against it or anybody who threatens it, no rules. And that's literally in that mentality. And that's what I'm seeing play out. And that's a scary place to live. That is a scary place to live.
And it's just like, now we got 44 likes, 4 dislikes. We got the 444 synchronicity, but we couldn't have it without the negative in there. So you can actually see how, the negative has its part here in the planet. So I'm not even saying that, it's like we live in a dualistic reality here. There's the good players, the bad players, the heroes, the villains, and to just keep it outside of you. Keep your world is your world. All that chaos out there that's out of your control, don't let it rock your boat. You know what I mean? Yes. Keep it separate. And that's really my main thing here. Just enjoy the show.
Yeah, yeah. And that's it. I think that's it. When I look and evaluate these things, I'm weighing it out with how I'm feeling, and try not to overthink mentally the situations, and just kind of, it's how I'm feeling. If I'm starting to feel agitated and triggered or negative, no matter what it is, whether it's something I'm seeing or somebody else's opinion or whatever it is, that's just the tool for me to slow down and say, okay, we'll go still for, a minute and rebalance what's going on inside of me. Because at the end of the day, that's the only thing that matters. It's the only thing that I can be sure of.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Magenta Pixie just put out a new video. I meant to link it because it was so powerful in that. It's like, if you find yourself being triggered about something, it really says something about what you need to go internal within yourself and say, why was I triggered about this? But too often we look to someone else. We're like, well, they need to change how they're viewing things, or they need to change their political view or whatever. But no, it's really, if you're being triggered, it's an indicator that you need to go within and figure out why you're being triggered about an issue. Because people shouldn't be able to have that sort of effect on us. Somebody shouldn't be able to come up to us and ruin our day from something they say. Think about that for a minute, because we're the only ones that's in control of our reality. And if someone can come up to you and say something to you that ruins your day, how are you giving that much power to someone else to control your life? I mean, that's why the whole I am discourse, I know I always talk about that, but it's been so powerful for me, because it made me realize how much we are in control of how we react to things. And if we get angry about something, it's because we decided to allow that person to make us angry, because you don't have to be.
Because guaranteed you have a reason for it.
Right.
If you can say, why are you angry? You will have a reason for it. And that's what needs to be breaking down. Now, this is not to say that if somebody comes to you with something that is a problem, it's not to say that a problem does not need to be solved. It's not saying that something does not need to be addressed or does not need to be taken seriously. It's how we address it. Right. It's how we do it. Do we do it in a rage, or do we do it? Yeah. This is the question.
Do we let the emotions...
It's not to say it's not a problem. It's not to say that there's not an injustice. Right. It's not to say that there is not a wrong being done or something that needs to be fixed. We're not saying ignore problems. It's just how are you coming at things?
Jessica says, Michelle, you are on point. You go, girl.
Oh, thanks, guys. I know not everybody's going to like it, but
But that's sort of the point we're trying to say here. I mean, these are topics we need to bring out, because a lot of people are triggered by them. And then, we can agree that...
Stop worrying about being ourselves.
Yeah.
This is what this year is all about, letting go of fear. And, if you're eccentric, and if you have crazy beliefs, or you like to do crazy things, you do it. And stop apologizing for it. As long as you're not causing injury to somebody else, then you be joyous and be you. It's about self-expression. This is about being sovereign and being within our authentic selves, speaking that authentic truth. This is what needs to be activated. That Christ consciousness wants to come out of us and speak through us authentically and powerfully, and on a strong foundation that will not be swayed by battering winds. Yeah. You know, this is what we want to be inside. We want to be that willow tree, right? Inside, that can really bend and sway and take it and still grow, you know, and love. And we've got this. I know this is the lesson that's coming around right now. Not everybody will learn it. Not everybody will like to hear it, but it's time for everybody to start speaking their own truth, stop apologizing for their truth, and stop expecting other people to apologize to you.
And at the end of the day, the main thing is love. So if you're not able to respond and still love the person, you've lost. I don't care if you feel like you won the debate. If you didn't do it out of love, or, you know, there was division at the end of it, you know, then you've lost. I mean, that's really the ultimate goal, is to love, not to win an argument or something. Thank you, son. Ezekiel's my son. He's in here spreading the love and light, only 11 years old. I'm proud of you, son.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I love your dad. He's the best. Everybody in here tell Zico how much Shane's loved. So much. Yeah.
But yeah, I get excited about stuff, but, you know, ultimately I'm speculating, and it's only the probability or the possibilities that I get excited about, you know, like the whole JFK thing that we talked about. If that's true, I mean, I don't know if it is, but if it is, that is so freaking awesome. Yeah. I mean, to consider it. So
but my world's not going to fall apart if it's not.
No.
Right? I'm not going to lose what's in here if that's wrong.
Your mom just said, "Tell Michelle I am speaking my truth. I want Zoe to have pups."
My mom brought that up last night, and I'm like, no, I don't want to ruin her pretty figure. and the problem too is that I'm not giving away my grandchildren. Are you kidding? If she had a litter of pups, do you think I would give them away?
Couldn't you?
Oh,
put it in the box and put some holes.
That would have to be to people. Yeah, it would have to be. It would have to. I don't know. Once they're all there, then I'd end up with more dogs. I'm telling you, I would end up with more dogs for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry. There's lots of pups out there.
Now, Zoe and Archer both. Do you have a male and a female there? Or?
Yeah, Archer's fixed, of course, and Zoe's going to be going in shortly. But Archer's getting his surgery on his teeth done first, so we put it off. He was supposed to have it last Friday, but we postponed actually and put it to this Friday. So he'll be going in for that. We'll do that first, and one sick baby at a time, right? So because both are boo boos either way, and I don't look forward to giving boo boos. Yeah.
Well, I'm excited about the possibilities and watching things shift around us in incredible ways. And I know change is coming. I don't know how it's going to happen. And I just focus on the end result. So if we take anything away from our discussion today, it would be put your focus, your intention on the end result, not so much how it's going to happen, because we could be completely wrong. Everybody might be wrong about how it's going to come about. You know what I mean? I mean, there might not be a theory out there that exists that gets us to where we see ourselves going. I mean, so let's put our intention on that, not limit the way it must happen, you know?
And the joy is within you, not outside of you. It's within you, not outside. That's the quest now. That's the quest. That's the goal, is to have that within us at all times. That's why we're here with this ascension. That's what we're working towards. So just, if you can try to bring that back into your, this is what the goal is, to live, from that pure space. So just, release the attachments to outcomes and opinions, Opinions are a dime a dozen, so everybody's got them, right? It don't need to be angered or upset or stomp out of the room because of somebody else's opinions.
Or be destroyed if an election doesn't go the way you thought it was going to go. I mean, some people are really they're like, what's going to, and then they live in fear about what's going to happen. And I mean, we shouldn't be that controllable by outside influences. You know,
No.
I think we should stay in control of what's going on in our life. You know.
Yeah, you're worrying about things. I think that's just, you're just worrying about things that it's almost wasted. You could be worrying about something that just totally irrelevant. You're wasting all that energy worrying about something that may never happen.
Right. Instead of just having the viewpoint like, oh, well, this isn't going to play out like I was thinking. I wonder how it is going to play out.
Yeah, I'd rather go color.
Yeah.
I'd rather go color. And I think the artists, you know, that's what gets me through now is the creative outlets. I am looking for the joy every day in creativity. Yeah. And just focusing every day on trying to maintain that balance, and, you know, with the energies coming in, being aware of what it is, being aware every day of what it provokes in me, what it's trying to purge in me, and what this process is. And I'm not balanced all the time, but it's the understanding and intention of every single day. I'm making sure when I'm waking up in the morning and when I'm going to sleep at night, this is remembered, that this is my goal every day, to do that. Not saying I do it every day, but it's my goal. It's my goal every day. And I certainly feel that we are all getting more and more and more supported in that goal and getting that accomplished. I feel it.
Totally. So let's come together in unity, set aside our differences, and love each other no matter what. I mean,
let's hold hands and sing Kumbaya.
Yeah.
You know, because, yeah, we're all different. We're all shades. We're all facets. So just shine for who you are without apology, without fear, and speak your truth. Live your joy.
I love you, Michelle. Thanks for
coming. I love you so much. And I love you all so much for joining me on this.
Yeah, we love you all so much, and we appreciate everyone being here and being able
I'm
to...
so woozy right now.
I know. I feel the love. I think this was an important discussion because
I hope so.
It's easy to get sucked into this stuff, you guys. I know how easy it is. I used to be sucked into it, but, you know, I can also see people get triggered when I just talk about something. They're like, oh, well, he must be coming from this. No, I'm not coming from any point of view at all. I'm just observing the world that we live in, and I think it's important that our love isn't conditional on whether someone agrees with us or not. You know, that's what they want. They want us.
What's in here, but you don't know really for sure anything else outside of you. But what
and all we know is that they want us to divide over issues like this.
Yeah.
So don't fall for it.
Be obstinate. Be obstinate. Choose otherwise. Grab the hand instead of pushing it away and say, you know what? I can accept you anyways. Right. And look for what is beautiful in you anyways.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's really what this channel was all about to begin with. It was all about, like, how can they believe that way? Okay, well, let me see if I can come to the point of believing the way they believe, or at least understanding why, because that's so difficult for us. But when you can at least understand why someone's believing from that point of view, then you can get to that place. You're like, well, if I was born in that society and that culture, was always told this from the time I could speak, I could see being just like that person. And once you do that, then you can understand that person much better. You can have love for them. You can tear down that wall that makes you feel different or separate from that person, and just love them for being another person that's just doing what they feel is right. So that's really, love wins. Love wins in the end.
I think if you can even just stop for a moment and take a look at the scope of your own personal experience, behavior changes within your own life, and even look at how are you different from the person a year ago and 5 years ago and 10 years ago and 20 years ago.
Oh my God. Just compare yourself with yourself.
Are you? And so that to consider that everybody around you is going through that constant metamorphosis as well. So let's not even pin the expectation of what something was yesterday onto today, because if you can look at your own development and changes and the scope of those changes, then be open to that being the case of everything around you. So in each moment, everything is new to discover. It is not old news.
Oh, yeah.
It is not old news.
Oh, my
gosh.
It's
new news.
That's powerful. When I think of comparing my know-it-all teenage self with my religious 20-something, 30-something-year-old self with myself now, and put all three of us together in a room as if we're separate people, Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
that's a
So
powerful,
consider
powerful
that.
thing there. Because we change.
You know, tell me there hasn't even been times in your life where you've gone to sleep and you've woken up the next day a different person. Give everybody that opportunity to be that different person in each moment, right?
You're funny,
And
he said he's different from he was from when he was
20 minutes ago.
20 years ago, because now
he's different than 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, really.
Think of how fast they grow and change. This is all about metamorphosis. We are all these butterflies.
You know what?
So, let's be beautiful.
And that's how the show was. It went from being sort of tense a little bit. I could feel a little bit of the tension coming from people to like dissolving away into this bubble of love. And
Shake it off.
It's like we went from this cocoon of tension into this beautiful butterfly of love just in the period of an hour. So I know we can do it. So lots of love and light to everybody.
We can. Because we're here every Tuesday doing it, aren't we, buddy?
We sure are.
That's what I'm here to do. You know what? No matter what, even the haters, I don't care. I'm going to be back here next week still loving y'all. And still loving me. And that's what I liked about Kanye. You know what? When somebody said, I love you, Kanye. He said, I love me too. And the way he said it, I knew it's okay to say that. It's okay to love yourself and be proud of that and be proud of who you are and speak your own truth. And that's the gift of that lesson. You can leave the rest.
Amen.
Amen.
I have to be careful with the amen. People are like, do you know that's from the Amen Ra thing? Sorry. So be it. I'll say it that way. Make it so.
You know what? Again, I say, stop apologizing. Right. I'm the one who's Canadian, and I'm telling you to stop saying sorry. What's going on? Sorry. Just be.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while since I did a Canada addict joke, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I forgot about all this cool stuff up here.
Do you remember why you stopped telling them?
No.
No, because of me.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, did you hammer me about it?
I got you a few times. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna go back. You know what? I want to do a count on actually how many episodes we've done because I think it's got to be over 20 now. So I'm gonna rebundle them into 3, and put them out like 3 at a time kind of thing. So timestamp them and because it's been a saga, brother.
Yeah.
Over the year.
For those that are latecomers, there's this comedian that makes this joke about Canada being like our attic and how there's all this cool stuff up there we forgot about. And so I just thought it was a funny joke. Your skis are
up there.
Right.
And your hockey equipment.
Right. I forgot all about all this cool stuff up here.
What I got was was it Colorado where you lived for a year in Colorado?
Yeah.
And it was freezing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what.
And I'm like, oh yeah, I went to just for the summer. Yeah. I was like, oh my goodness.
It was still cold at night, but it's cold up in the attic too. I mean, in real life, you go up in the attic and it's like, wow, it's really breezy up here in the attic.
I remember that Jose and I were I think we were on there, the 3 of us together, and Jose and I were just shaking our heads. The summertime in Colorado, he's freezing. That's hilarious.
Okay, it was. We were living in a cabin. I swear to God, this is the first time this happened. We had a cabin. We had a bucket in the corner that I would pee in because there was no bathroom, and we didn't want to walk all the way to the outhouse. So yeah, I actually lived in a cabin with it had running water, it had a kitchen, but no bathroom. We'd have to go to the outhouse. So there was this bucket I'd have to, go in the middle of the night, and it was so cold that my kneecaps were moving up and down in the sockets like this while I'm standing there peeing in the middle of the night. I've never had that happen since, but that's how cold it was. My kneecaps were literally going up and down in the sockets.
Like little jackhammers.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know how I did it. I don't know how it's even possible, but it was happening. And I was like, why are my kneecaps moving up and down? I'm so cold.
Yeah, I know that kind of cold.
Oh, you do? Probably helps women that they can squat and pee, because now at least their kneecaps can't move up and down like mine do.
Yeah, I do not like being cold. I do not like being. My shoulders do that. You talking about your kneecaps? My shoulders do that.
Yeah, I've had my teeth chatter, but that was the only time my knees did anything like that. So, well, lots of love and light to everybody in the chat.
Oh,
we love
you
each
all.
and every one of you guys. We will be back next Tuesday, of course. And I appreciate you coming on. Lots of love to you, sis.
Oh, thank you, brother. Love you so much. One of these days, we're talking ECETI next summer.
Oh, yeah, ECETI next summer.
Yeah,
Austin
I think we
on
might
New
have
Year's.
a Canada contingent.
Yeah, if you guys think you could make it out for New Year's in Austin, send me an email. Just go to my website, uotf.net. Send me either a message there or an email. Put Austin in the subject line, and I will keep you guys informed about our get-together, because we want to pray in the new year, meditate in the new year, just be together, meet each other, and just have a fun time, and to be an outdoor event that's fun. And hey, Jess.
Yeah, hey, Jess. I know it's you. She's off to work. She's loving her job, chopping vegetables.
Oh, that's awesome.
So here she is.
Jess, have fun at work.
It's Jess.
Bye-bye.
Gotta go bye. Oh, I love that kid. Oh my goodness, I love that
cool.
kid.
That's cool, because we got
26. Yes, she's 26.
We got your mom in the chat. We got
Mom's there. Yeah.
3 generations, guys, all together.
Yeah.
Light workers working their light
That's
and love.
That's right.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Mom's got some great stories, man. She's got her master's in oh my, mommy, you tell them. I always get the word wrong. Shoot. Like ghosts and stuff. Paranormal. Yeah. She's got the proper term, but yeah, she's pretty cool. She can go in. She knows how to like document everything, and it's pretty cool. Yeah. And you live out in Ontario way and have some ghost stories to share with my mom. I'm sure she would appreciate it, because she studied all that for quite a while. Worked quite hard at it. So
that's awesome. Totally in my neck of the woods, or
metaphysics.
That's where I started. Yeah,
metaphysics.
She just straightens us out there with a bunch of
She's got some amazing recordings, boy.
Really, like voiceover or
one of them I heard once. I literally took the headphones and threw it across the kitchen. My mom can tell you.
It's okay, Zoe.
I was not expecting to hear what I heard. It was so loud. I just took the headphones and threw them. It scared me so bad.
You guys should do a special on that.
Yeah, we should. But Mom's shy. I need to get her on here. She'll start. I know she's giggling right now, just me saying that. She's shy. Yeah, I told her I wanted her to come on about her dreams, but we'll work up to it. Zoe's fully prepared. Just happened. But yeah, and anybody wants to share their dream stories, guys, send me an email, please, especially event dreams. So
yeah, her email is on the screen, Wolf.
Yeah, don't be discouraged if I haven't put your dreams out yet or gotten back to you. I'm just doing a lot of editing work right now, and some transcribing work too. And so don't lose patience. Keep emailing me, okay?
Yeah, I just noticed there's still emails I haven't gotten to from my trip, so I apologize, because it got so far down that I'm like, oh my gosh, I never got to the bottom of the list, and I'm having to go back, and it's like, oh my gosh. So I apologize, and you know me, if I haven't got to you. Yeah, and if I haven't gotten back to you from an email, please do email me again, because it might have gotten buried, because I get so many emails, and please, if you're contacting me on Facebook,
Messenger.
I don't know what's going on with Messenger, but there's times when I find like stuff from April, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I never even saw this message.
Oh, I know. There's just so much groups and everything going on. So.
Like I went to email Angie Dollar, and I was like, I wonder if we're friends, or I wonder if she's on Facebook, and I contacted her on Facebook, and I was like, oh, we're already friends. So I open up Messenger, and I see she wrote me like months ago, and I was like, oh my gosh, I never even saw this. So I don't know how I missed those, but email is the best way to get a hold of me, or through the website contact page, because that also comes to my email. So that's the best way to get a hold of me, to make sure you get a hold of me. Facebook is not the best way. I just pretty much use that for notifications, because I know a lot of people are on there. So Twitter and stuff like that isn't the best way, but
so anyway. I don't twit. I've never twitted yet. I don't know.
We love you guys. We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace.
If you'd like to support the work I do, go to paypal.me/UOTF. Thanks. Bye.